Shalom. Call Halayim Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Macha Kodash and Shani Kabad and Gadawala Requab Zaquanyam Nawa Shalayakim Nawa. And that is double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And Shalawam Wabarakim Labakonyam Shaliyasharala. And that is peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. And also may a double portion of the Holy Spirit be put upon the brothers that are out there on the highways and byways, offering your bodies as a living sacrifice out there on the front lines. So real quick, I just wanted to jump into this article that I found through the Spirit. It's on CNN.com, or CNN Business, I guess. And the title is, "A Crack Just Emerged in the Financial Markets. The New York Fed spends $53 billion to rescue the overnight lending market." So we're going to read a little bit about this article. We're going to get into what is the lending market and why, the Fed have to inject basically $53 billion into the financial markets. And more importantly, we're going to jump into why this is important concerning prophecy. So with that being said, we're going to start off by reading this article. It says, borrowing rates skyrocketed on Tuesday in a corner of the markets the public rarely notices, but that is critical to the functioning of the global financial system. The spike in overnight borrowing rates forced the New York Federal Reserve to come to the rescue, it says, with a special operation aimed at easing stress in the financial markets. So as I read, just stick with me because talking about finances and economics sometimes can get a little bit tricky, but I'm going to do my best to just break it down very easily. It was the New York Fed's first such rescue operation in a decade, the last occurring in late 2008. And we all know what happened in 2008, known as a financial crisis. But keep in mind the word usage or choice that the author of this, that the author is using, basically. It says right here, a rescue operation. We read in the previous, it said rescue again. So keep in mind these words because it's important. It says it's unprecedented, at least in the post-crisis era, said Mark Cabana, rate strategist at Bank of Merrill Lynch, blah, blah, blah. On Tuesday morning, the New York Fed launched what's called an overnight repo operation. Another one of those words. An overnight repo operation during which the central bank attempts to ease pressure in the markets by purchasing treasuries and other securities. The goal is to pump money into the system, meaning the financial markets, to keep borrowing costs from creeping above the Fed's target range. The first attempt by the New York Fed was canceled because of what they call technical difficulties, whatever that means. Minutes later, the New York Fed successfully injected, that's where I get the word from, $53 billion into the financial system. The episode demonstrates evidence of emerging strains in financial markets and raises concern that the Federal Reserve could be losing its grips on short-term rates. And this is also evidence that the Fed manipulates the markets. It says the funding markets are clearly stressed. It's going to require Fed action. Blah, blah, blah. Now, this is where we're going to go into explaining what all this means. All right, under rate spike, it says the rate on overnight repurchase agreements hit 5% on Monday, according to Refinitiv data. That's up from 2.29% last week and well above the target range set in July by the Fed, which is 2% to 2.25%. The surge continued Tuesday with the overnight rate hitting a high of 10% before the New York Fed stepped in and injected money into the markets in order to ease the markets and bring that rate back down. So what does all this mean? Well, this next paragraph sort of explains it, and I'll explain it overall. Although it doesn't get as much attention as the Dow or the 10-year Treasury rate, this overnight market plays a central role in modern finance. It allows banks to quickly and cheaply borrow money for short periods of time, often to buy bonds like treasuries. This market broke down during the 2008 financial crisis. So basically, we almost saw an episode, a rerun, if you will, another episode of what happened in 2008, which is also called, once again, the financial crisis. So basically, you have this overnight market that dictates or specifically correlates to how quickly and cheaply big banks are able to borrow money for short periods of time. So, of course, the Fed wants to see, well, not the Fed, but yeah, the Fed and banks want to see a lower rate. So last week, because if the rates are too high, who's going to borrow money? It's obvious. So last week, the rate was around 2.29%. Now, randomly, on Monday, 2 days ago, that borrowing rate for banks jumped up to 5%. And then randomly on Tuesday, I guess maybe around Tuesday morning, it jumped from 5% all the way up to 10%. So in order to ease the financial markets, so they say, which is also easing these bankers, then what the Fed had to do was they had to inject $53 billion into the market to make it seem as if everything is all right. Everything is good. Money is in the market. People are actually spending. So it's okay for you banks to keep borrowing money. That's what they had to do. But it's all just, I'm not going to say a scam, but it's all just phony baloney, for lack of a better word, because nobody is really spending money. Retail investors such as myself aren't spending money like that. I'm not doing much investing right now. I mean, I invest in currencies, but that's every now and then. And even the global markets are tremendously slow right now. But nobody is really spending money like that. If you even look at the stock market, the only reason why within the past weeks or months it's been going up, I always say it, is because of stock buybacks. Companies are repurchasing basically their own stock. But we basically almost just seen a rerun, a relapse of what happened in 2008 in the financial crisis. So this basically could have happened again this past Monday or Tuesday when this rate hit 10%. But the Fed jumped in and they had that repo or that rescue operation, and they injected $53 billion into the market and made it seem like everything was okay. These banks were at ease now. So the markets could have crashed. And as you keep reading in this article, I'm going to get some scriptures in a second. As you keep reading in this article, we're going to jump down to this paragraph or this one statement. It says, "No one knows why this is happening." Jim Bianco, CEO of Bianco Research, said on Twitter, "If it persists more than another day or two, it will be a problem because the markets will crash if these rates get any higher. If it goes above 10% and that persists, then yeah, we could potentially see some kind of financial crisis, which could lead into I'm just going to say a recession or even a depression." Now, why is this all important? Well, because we understand that we're living in the end days. And why do we say that? Because all of the prophecies in the Bible are starting to happen at the same exact time. We're seeing earthquakes in diverse places. We're seeing plagues and pestilence. We're seeing wars and rumors of war. And we're also seeing the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, being pushed on a global scale. That's how we know that we're living in the end days. And in the end days, the Lord prophesied and said, look, let me read it, Matthew 24, verse 21, that we're going to see a time that never was nor shall be. Matthew 24, verse 21, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." So what we saw down in Venezuela, what we are seeing down in the Bahamas, all the looting and raping that's happened that's not really getting spoken about, all the destruction that happened down there, all of that is just a prelude, if you will, for lack of a better word, of what's to come to America. So this basically means that the collapse of this American economy, in which if the American economy collapses, then it's going to have a domino effect on the rest of the world. So once this collapse actually happens, then basically that coincides with what the scriptures call, the end of the world, in which it's going to be a time like never was nor shall be. The scriptures prophesy of a perilous time of famine and plagues and pestilence. So that's what's coming to America. That's why this is relevant. That's why through the Spirit I brought out that article, because if you claim that you're a believer in the Lord and you want his kingdom to be established on earth, well, then that means that this current rulership, this current kingdom has to be done away with. So what we're going to do is just jump down now to verse 37. And the reason why I'm going to read this is because everything has to seem like it's okay. It's prophecy. That's why the Fed is injecting billions upon billions of dollars into the markets, because for some odd reason, people look at the stock market as a correlation to how well the economy is doing, which that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. But it has to seem like everything is going okay. And in order for these people to keep functioning in normal society, so that when the Lord comes back, they'll be caught off guard. It's all prophecy. Matthew 24 verse 37 says, But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. So they were fulfilling their own bellies, doing whatever they wanted to do. Nowadays, you can basically say people going on vacations and stuff like that, and still getting married, right? Going out to the clubs, having fun, not looking for the Lord. It says, until the day that Noah entered into the ark and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So when the Lord comes back and his name is Yahawashi, that's the true name of the man that died on the cross. When he returns, it's going to be similar to when, or as in the days of Noah. And that's exactly why the Fed is injecting all this money into the market, to make it seem like what I said earlier. Everything is just okay. People are buying. The dollar is high. The dollar is going up. Everything is okay. The unemployment rate is low. People have jobs. Everybody is spending. So that's why this is relevant. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to jump down to verse 42 now. It says, Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. Because basically, as we read by that dude, what was his name? Bianco, I think it was. Something like that, that CEO. He basically said that we have no clue why this is happening. So the market could crash really at any moment, at any day. It could happen this year. It could happen next year. And if you do a little bit of the research, a lot of financial analysts are expecting some kind of a recession to happen early 2020, or like into, they're saying, the second quarter of 2020. So that's what they're saying. But who knows? It could happen this year. It could happen next year. We really don't know. The scriptures say, Watch therefore once again, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. So when this crash happens, it coincides with that day that never was nor shall be, as we read in verse 21. As we keep going, verse 43, it says, But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. And a lot of these people out here are going to be truly caught off guard The Lord truly has people in a deep sleep, deep, dark sleep, meaning spiritually, because of course, now you're going to have some people sleeping. But when the markets finally does crash and the American economy does collapse, then people for the most part are going to be awake. They're going to be at work. They're going to be buying and drinking their coffee, going out to eat, going on vacation. But we're talking about right now a spiritual sleep, not watching out for prophecy, even though they claim that they go to church and they believe in the Lord and they want his kingdom to be established, but they're truly not watching. So they're going to be caught off guard. Our job as the hopeful elect is to watch out for these prophecies and not to give in to the phony baloney, not to give in to the crap that we see, talking about the dollar is strong and talking about the markets are high and crap like that. If you really do just a little bit of research, you'll see that all these other nations out here, they're not banging with the U.S. anymore. Iran, North Korea even, Russia, China, they're all striving to make deals between themselves and get rid of the dollar. They see the dollar that it's going to collapse real soon. I'm going to grab one more scripture. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1 through 6. It says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say, peace and safety, oh, the market's up, everything is good, people are buying money, unemployment is down. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Let's look up that word real quick. And they shall not escape. Let me see that word escape. All right, if I play, you probably won't hear it. I'm going to do my best to pronounce it. It says efugayo, ekfugo, ekfugo, something like that. But the definition is to flee out of, to flee away, to seek safety in flight, or to escape. So the Lord is going to come as a thief in the night, and our job is to watch. But to all these people that are not watching, that are not preparing themselves, that are not building up their spirit nor their faith in the Lord, they're not going to have any kind of safety. As it is written, the angel of the Lord encampeth around him that feareth the Lord. These people don't have a fear of the Lord unless they be watching out for prophecy. So they're not going to have that hedge around them. They're not going to have that safety around them. And they shall not escape. So they're not going to be safe. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep. Now, of course, we sleep. This is what I was talking about earlier. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. So let us not be in spiritual sleep, meaning let us not be in darkness and not looking for these prophecies. We have to continue to, do exactly what I'm doing right now through the Spirit, which is what many brothers do. Go into these particular articles and break them down as it relates to prophecy, put it out for the people. The scriptures talk about how the Lord set up watchmen, and we are to report on what we're seeing. That represents us not being asleep as others, but it says let us watch and be sober, meaning sober goes into being having a clear mind. And if you have a clear mind, then that means you're going to be up and you're watching. That thief is not going to come and break in your house. So with that being said, I just wanted to bring out this article. And like I said, break it down as it relates to prophecy. Any day now, when that's the mentality that we have to be in, these markets could crash. All it really takes is one event, as I mentioned in my video that I made a few days ago. All it's really going to take is one event to happen in the U.S. that could crash these markets, that the Fed is not prepared for, or who knows, a false flag that the Fed creates, all for the purpose of fulfilling their New World Order. However it goes down is not really for us to say specifically. All we are to do is a report on the times and what we're seeing, and then it's up to you to pray and have faith in the Lord and to keep watching. And that's why we do these videos. But with that being said, I pray that you all were edified. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakudash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.